Hey everyone, my name is Colin O Farrow, host and president of Tech Podcasts, and I'm glad that you are here watching again. Today we have a special guest, someone that I've been trying to get on for a while. Was going to be my first episode. Very glad to have him on now. This is his last semester here teaching with 36 years.
This is my 36th year.
So yeah, today we have Dr. Walls. It's his last semester here. There's a lot of great things. You guys know a lot about him. I mean, especially people in business have classes with marketing, personal selling, human resource management. I think you do principles of management as well. So yeah.
So if you look at the business curriculum, for the most part, if it's not accounting, then I've taught it all. So,
Yeah, and I've also heard that you've built the HR program here. Is that true? I mean, how did that happen from the start?
So when I got hired, it's 1989, and what we offer is pretty limited in terms of the catalog. And the dean asked me to take a look at all of the degrees that we had and to make some suggestions. And I came back and said, we're missing two critical things that would be pretty easy to put together. And one of them was marketing, and the other one was HR. So I actually created both those degrees here. And I immediately aligned our HR program with the Society for Human Resource Management. With the marketing piece, I brought in all of my friends that were in marketing-related positions. And so I had a great level of connection because of my family being here and then playing golf. So, I mean, as an example, the guy, WXKE, then it was 104, but that radio station, the station manager, he and I were great friends.
Oh, wow.
And I actually had him here teaching class. And so it was that level of community involvement that I got the marketing program going. And likewise then with the HR, I aligned it immediately with this national organization and set up all the classes so that it would feed straight into their certification exam. And I knew how valuable both degrees were, but I then took the national certification exam myself. And from that point forward, I've tried to encourage all the students to take it. So probably over 500 students have passed that exam, and it is a globally recognized piece. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But clearly it's got a level of difficulty to it, and that's what causes that thing to have a lot of value. But on the opposite side, on the marketing piece, I've always maintained this, that if you can sell, then you understand exactly what you're going to do. The problem is, you have a lot of people who major in marketing that they don't want to sell anything. And we have a lot of people who major in entrepreneurship, and I created the entrepreneur program as well. This is bad to say it this way, but I got the Lilly grant from Eli Lilly, their foundation, to start and to offer our very first entrepreneurship class. And that's what launched that. But to be an entrepreneur, to be in marketing, and if you don't want to sell, I'm this old school guy that believes I don't understand what you're doing, because if it's your business, I think you got to sell it. And whatever you're doing, I think you got to sell it. And then likewise on the HR side of things, I think when you go in for an interview, you're selling yourself. And those that are not good at this, it's pretty clear what happens to them. So,
See, you just mentioned a lot right there. You mentioned HR, marketing, personal selling, and then you also said they all work together, even if you aren't doing sales, you'd have to sell yourself in an interview and all that stuff. And, those are just like great traits to just have, But also I know that you're an entrepreneur, Do you want to talk about how you got your thing set up with, your washing company?
I can talk about anything you'd like from me too. I kind of come from this world of, my parents did not give us money. But if you wanted money, they provided for us the idea on how to make money. So I'm about 10, 11 years old. I live in Indianapolis. my parents' house was on 38th Street, and it backed right up. The backyard backed right up to 38th Street. And in Indianapolis, even today, you go down 38th Street to get to the Indianapolis 500. And here in Fort Wayne, it's not that big of a deal, but in Indianapolis, in May, the Indy 500 is everything. And I've never forgotten about this, but the individual that was the manager of the newspaper, so like my boss, if you will, made a comment that because of where I lived, I should be able to sell the souvenir papers pretty easily and could make a significant amount of money. Well, that's all I needed to hear, okay? And so I went back to my father and said, look, I want to take all the money I have out of savings and I want to buy these newspapers because I got to pay for them. Whether I sell them or not, I got to pay. They're going to take them back, but I looked at it as I'm going to have an investment in them. And he was like, well, how many of these things you going to sell? I said, well, I've thought about it, and at that point in time, I'm buying them, as an example, for like a dime. They sell for a quarter. I said, well, I think that if I get all my friends together, and if I tell them this, that I'm buying them for a dime, and we're selling them for a quarter, but if I pay each one of my friends a dime for every paper they sell, then I make a nickel off of every sale that they make. But I make 15 cents off of every one that I sell. I said, but I can make a lot more money if I have everybody working for me. And my father's looking at me like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if they're going to. I said, no, I think they'll do this. He said, well, how many papers are you going to buy? I said, well, I plan to fill the garage. And he's like, ultimately, I wore him down. And he said, okay, well, we made so much money. All my friends were, we called it rich. I mean, our pockets were full of money. And they didn't have to invest. They knew that I was making money off of them, but they knew I was putting up all the money. But we were doing things that little kids wouldn't be able to do today. So, I mean, we're walking up and down the middle of the street selling these papers to every car that's, parked. But that was just the very first day of time trials. There's 4 days of time trials. We did it every day. And then on race day, we sold them then. So that gave me this taste of money. And I liked it. And so I never was afraid to work. So when I'm in high school, I'm selling suits to people that look like this now. Okay, so all of the guys who were vice presidents and above that wanted like custom-made suits, I'm selling. So here I am, this high school kid, really, but I've got suits that I wear, and then they come into this shop, and I'm selling them suits, and I'm giving them great service. And I had really nice clothes. I wouldn't say that I had a lot of money, but I was meeting a lot of people, and I get accepted to go to IU, and I can remember telling my parents about this, and they were excited, but their very first comment was, you know that we don't have any money to give to you. And I'm like, but I didn't ask you for any, and I wasn't expecting any. And by the way, I've already called down to Bloomington, and I'm going to transfer what I do down there to another shop, and they're excited and all of that. So I'm going to go down there and sell suits and go to class, and I'm going to get my degree there. And so I do that. But I get there, and I realize that I really don't have enough money, because in order to get the money that I really need, because I don't know anybody, I don't have the connections, I don't have a network of people, I'm going to have to work more hours. So I have to work more hours to make the money I was making before, but I'm at IU. And at IU on Thursday, the weekend starts, and it ends up sometimes on Tuesday morning. So you have this big weekend, and I'm working. So there's this social piece that I'm not able to really get involved in. And then because I'm working so many hours, I don't think my grades are going to hit the way they should. And so I start cutting my hours back, and now I make less money, and I don't have enough money. And so I come to this this revelation that, like when I was selling those newspapers, I was in control, and I don't really have control of the money right in this situation. So I needed to do something that would be on my own. So, and this is pretty naive, but I thought that, okay, if you're the business owner, you get more money. But if you're the business owner, what I actually realized was you actually work more hours too, all right? But, so, I mean, I started looking at what I could do to make money. And I'm talking about I did things that, so, I mean, there's a lot of parties, okay? And I would go after the party and get all of the cans, all of the beer cans, and all of the bottles and whatever. And I found somebody where I could return those bottles. So it's like, okay, so I'd just go do the thing where I'll take care of all of this stuff. But in driving back from Bloomington to here, I came up with what I thought was a kind of a hokey or silly idea, but I had one of those mothers. I didn't have any sisters, so I had a mother who believed that my brothers and I should know how to do things, and that meant know how to clean the windows, how to clean the toilets, how to cook for yourself, how to run the vacuum. I mean, just how to do things, and nobody should do that stuff for you. You can do it on your own, and you should do it on your own.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this idea then that, well, I know how to do that, and I'm not embarrassed to do it, and it's not below me. So I came up with this idea that my last name is Walls, and it's kind of an interesting play on it, but so the name of the business that I came up with was W&W Cleaning and Janitorial Service, and we clean everything from walls to walls. And Jeff Walls is president. I thought it was hokey, but I thought it was just silly enough that I might get in the door, okay? And went and got a box of business cards printed up, and I stopped selling the suits so that I could go pass out my cards. And I thought, well, I'll have a customer pretty quickly. And yeah, that was stupid thinking, because it took literally 3 months. And I'm talking about every day. So I go to class, come back, put my suit on, and go pass out cards, cold call style. I just go to an office, walk in, here's who I am, here's what I can do. Are you interested in anybody like me? And so I don't have any customers, but I know how to do the work, but I don't have anybody I'm doing it for. And that caused a lot of trouble, because if you don't have any business, then it's kind of difficult to get business. So that your first customer is the most difficult one to get a hold of. And timing is everything. And being in the right place at the right time is money. And it just so happened that it happened to me. I walked into a doctor's office, and the individual on the phone is like the office manager, because I can pick up on what she's doing. She's firing the janitor. And I mean, she's mad. And I mean, she is just laying it on him. And she hangs up that phone. There's nobody else in the waiting room, just me. And I'm standing there. I got this cheesy smile on my face, because I'm like, baby, this is money for me right now, because she needs somebody. That's going to be me. All right. And so, and her tone of voice was, I mean, she hangs up, she's mad, and she looks at me like, what do you want? And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I'm here to solve a problem. And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, well, I apologize, but I was listening. I was listening into what you said, and you fired the janitors. I handed her my card. I said, the company's mine. Why don't you let me clean for you? I said, otherwise, you're going to have to do all this work yourself. I said, you know as well as I do. You're the individual that you're going to have to dump the trash. You're going to have to clean it. I said, and I'm okay if you want to do that, because I want to do it. I said, but do you really want to do that after you worked all day? And I started talking to her, and I said, you know, I'm looking around, and this is a doctor's office. This thing should be sterile, pristine. And I wiped my finger on the baseboard, and there was a level of dust there. And I said, I mean, look, you can't have this here. This doesn't work. She said, that's why I fired them. I said, well, tell you what, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I'll do it for free. And she's looking at me like what? I said, well, you don't know me, and you're my first customer. And just to prove it, that I can make this place look the way it's supposed to, I'll clean for free. That way you don't owe anything. You don't owe me. You don't lose anything. And by the way, you don't have to do it. And I said, if you don't like me, you're not really firing me. You're not paying me. I'll just leave. I said, but at least you'll at least get it done. I said, if you want to come in and watch me, you can do that too. I said, but you won't be disappointed. And I'm going to guarantee it. Okay? And she said, well, how are you going to do that? During this period of time, I'm driving a 1977 Camaro, black on black. I had bought it literally right when I graduated, okay? And I dropped my keys down. I said, this is the most valuable thing that I own. I said, but I own it. And it's black, and it's cool, and it does not look like a janitor's car. I said, but if you want to take my car for a drive, for a ride, I'll put my car up against this, that I will not disappoint. And she's looking at me like, yeah, she just starts laughing like that. She said, put the keys back in your pocket. Come in tonight. So, I mean, I go in, and I mean, I'm doing things that she didn't ask me to do. And the next day, I go back, do the classic follow-up. How was everything? Did I miss something? Clearly, I tried to, and she's like, it's never been like this. I said, it'll be even better by tomorrow. I said, I need a couple days to get everything. But it'll be even better. Well, by the third day, they're like, so how much are you going to charge us? Because you're doing stuff that we didn't even think needed to be done. I said, well, how about this? How about I do it for half? And they're like, half of what? I said, whatever you were paying before, I'll do it for half. And she's like, you're majoring in business. There's no way that you're going to make this work if you're going to do things for half. It just won't happen for you. I said, yeah, I know that. But what I want from you is that you let me do this. You pay me half. I'll never raise your rate. So, I mean, if I'm cleaning for you in a couple of years, you'll still be paying the same amount. You're going to know right now, I'll never raise it, and I'm doing it for half. At the same time, at the end of the month, if you like me, if you think that I've done, if you think my word is, if you think I'm good for what I say, then I'd like for you to give me the referral to all of your friends, the other doctors, dentists, lawyers, anybody else that you know. I'd like for you to tell them I'm the one. And by the way, I'll make all of them pay. And they'll pay a whole lot more. And they liked that idea. They laughed, they thought it was funny. And so before the end of the month, I'm getting calls. So I'm not out cold calling anymore. I'm now out looking at offices, giving them price quotes, and I'm busy. And my business overnight literally starts to explode. It blows up. Everybody wants me. Everybody. And now I'm working actually more hours. I have less time for the weekends, but I'm now making about 10 times what I was making. So all of a sudden the weekends don't become that important to me because I'm making a lot of money. And this is kind of a cool little thing that I got going on. Well, I get my two brothers involved. So I have two younger brothers, all right? And I can still remember going to my brothers and saying this to them. I've started this cleaning business. I need you to come work for me. And by the way, I need all the money to be able to pay for school. So I need you to clean the toilets and run the vacuum and do all those types of things for me. And I can't pay you. I have to have all the money. Now, I don't know if you got brothers and sisters, but my brothers were like this. Like, man, we're not cleaning the toilets for free. There's two of us and there's one of you. I mean, and then I said this. I said, well, I get it. I said, but I need all the money. But here's the deal that I'm willing to make. I get all the money. And as soon as the next brother in line is ready to go to college, the cleaning, anything that I start that goes with this, you can't have. But the cleaning business right now, the next brother in line, I will give you the entire business. And it will pay for you to go to college. So this is your college scholarship. You just gotta clean. Mm-hmm. But your college will be paid for.
So is that a business today or?
So my youngest brother, so I have two brothers. Mm-hmm. So my youngest brother, he still has it. Wow. And I made the comment to the youngest brother, you have to clean the longest for free. And because you have to clean the longest for free, you get to keep the business for the rest of your life if you want it. My youngest brother. My parents, in their infinite wisdom, they named my youngest brother without knowing it to be in the cleaning business. And he changed the name of the business. My youngest brother's first name is Dusty. So imagine the business is now called Dusty Walls, and his name is Dusty Walls. And by the way, when he walks in, he says, "My name is Dusty Walls, and I'm here to clean your business." You can't make that. I mean, you just can't make up a story like that, okay? But while I'm running this, I start buying other things. So I have all this equipment. And when I say all this equipment, at that point in time, I had like 50, 60 vacuum cleaners. I've got every floor buffer. I mean, the low speeds that go back and forth, the high speeds that go up and down. I've got, I just have a lot. And I have it all in these rental storage, like you store it here and like you go into the store. So I have it all there. And I'm paying every month to store all of my equipment there, and it's making me mad. Because I'm paying and I'm not getting anything from it other than we're storing this. And I had this idea, if I had a house, I could just store all of my equipment there and I could rent the house out. I kept telling myself that I should just buy a house and put it all there. And I was driving through Fort Wayne, downtown, over the bridge onto Main Street, and there was a for sale sign, and it had a big house. And I looked at the house, and I immediately looked at the backyard, and there was a 10-foot chain link fence all the way around the backyard, and it had a big garage. I'm like, I could pull my vehicle into the chain link, pull all my equipment in the garage, and rent the house. I called the realtor up and said, look, I'm a cash buyer. And I'm talking about like now time. Is there any chance I could look at it? She comes over, shows me the house. I don't even flush the toilets in the house. I just kind of walk through it really quick. I don't pull up the carpet. I don't look at anything. I said, I just want to see the garage. And I explained to her what I wanted. And I said, look, I'll tell you what, you want this amount for it. You tell your owner, I'll pay this in cash. It was a lot less, okay? I'll pay this in cash, and I can close tomorrow morning. Well, she's like, she just didn't know what to do because this type of a buyer isn't who was buying those houses, okay? But she said, I'll have to check with the owner, I doubt it. She calls me back and said, the owner said he needs money really bad. And if you can close that fast, we'll get the paperwork ready and you can have, remember I hadn't even flushed the toilet yet. I didn't even know if anything in the house worked. But she's like, you're buying it as is, nothing, no warranties, no. I said, absolutely, that's what I'm buying. I take ownership of the house, go in. Very first thing I do is I go turn the water on, see if the water actually turns on, see if everything worked, okay? I pull up all the carpet, and it's all hardwood floors underneath. So I take everything out of the house, clean the house, paint the house, refinish the wood floors. It is just gorgeous inside. And I didn't even realize it, but it was already divided up into two properties to where it's like a duplex.
Oh, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, so there was two apartments, really. So the house was split. I didn't even know it was split. I hadn't even gone into that side of the house. So I didn't even know that was there. It's like, oh, well, this is nice. And it had a basement in it, okay? So I rented the house out after it was all cleaned up. Kept all my equipment in the back, and then I used the basement as well. All right? Well, literally the people next door, they're over there wanting to know what I'm doing. They came in and wanted to know if I wanted to buy their house. So I bought their house. And it snowballed. So I ended up buying all the houses down the street, and then down the side street, and then back. And I owned the whole block. I bought them all. So there's an alley that goes through it, but I own all the houses. And I'm renting them all. I'm doing the same thing. But I had this idea that I'm not going to keep these forever. I'm just kind of short-terming this. And into one of my properties, this woman moved in. I leased the apartment to her. She couldn't have weighed more than 100 pounds. Okay, I called her, she's like a skinny white woman. Okay, but I saw her in action out on the sidewalk with a couple of individuals that were giving her a rough time or had done something. I didn't know what had happened, but she was literally ready to give them a smackdown. And I tell you what, she was scary. It was like I'd bet on her. And afterwards, I went to her and I said, so how'd you like to live in your apartment for free? And she gave me elevator eyes and looked me up and down and said, like, what do I have to do? I said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I said, I need somebody to go collect the rent for me. And if you collect the rent and get it all collected, I'll let you live for free. And the very first thing she says to me then is, if they don't pay, can I kick them out? And I said, I think I love you. And she laughed and she said, that's my job. And so she'd collect the rent, she'd call me. And I mean, I'm talking a big, everybody's paying in cash during this period of time. So the people that are living in these places, they're paying in cash. And so she'd get the cash, call me up, and I'd drive down. And I'm driving a big Lincoln Town car, big four-door, I mean, just a big daddy type of car. And I'd roll the window or press the window, I'd go down, and she'd walk out and hand me the cash. And every time, and I've told this story in class about this. I mean, she would kiss me on the cheek, hand me all the money, and I'd pull off a $100 bill and hand it back to her and say, you know, bonus today. And she's like, I love you. And yeah, well, I love you too. And I'd leave. And I thought it was a good thing going. And somebody took a picture of that and sent it to my wife. And with some comments like, do you know that your husband is in the alley collecting money from this woman and she's kissing him all the time? And I'm like, well, you know what I got going on. And she's like, well, like, why do you give her money? I said, because she got all the money collected. I mean, it's kind of like a bonus. She gets, I said, at Christmas time, you already know this, I give her about $500 at Christmas also. I said, I've never been one to, like, you do something really good for me, I take really good care of you. I said, she'll never move. It's too good of a deal. And she said, well, my wife was like, well, maybe I should go with you. I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not screwing any of this up. Okay, I said, because I hate collecting the money. I don't like doing that. And she likes doing it. And so ultimately, within like 5-6 years of doing all of that with these houses, I started selling them. And so she started to panic because I'm selling all the houses, and she knows, because she's like, well, I don't have as much to do. And I said, don't worry. I said, I got a plan for you. And because she had done all of this for me, I literally showed that she had worked off the price of her house by collecting the rent and doing all of that, even though she didn't pay anything, that she ultimately got her house for free. So I made certain that she didn't pay for the house. Mm-hmm. So I showed that it was already paid for, got the title company, put it all in her name, all of that. I'll still see her every once in a while when I'm out and about. I mean, she'll run through a store and hug me like I haven't seen her forever or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I used all of that money then to do other things with. I mean, I dropped it into the stock market. I bought other business things. I mean, I can keep going with this if this is what you want, okay? But I mean, so it's as if, so like even my youngest brother today will call me in a panic if he's got a problem, say, look, can you come over and help me clean this? Or can you come over and do this for me? I'm like, but of course, I'll be right there. There's nothing like that, but yeah, that stuff still happens. Yeah. Okay.
See, so you say right person, right time, right place.
Yeah.
And you saw that right when you went into that receptionist desk, saw them, and then that ultimately led to a lot more things, domino affecting.
Complete and full. Okay.
Yeah. And I know you're busy and successful, and you wake up early. You get to school around 6:30. So what is your routine like?
Yeah. So I don't recommend my routine for anybody. Okay, but at about 3 o'clock every morning, I wake up and I check the stock market. I want to see which way the money's going to go. I'm looking to see what's happening in Europe, what's going on there. I'm looking to see what's happening in Japan. But I'm checking all of those markets because it's going to impact us here, and it's going to impact my money then as well. Trump coming in, and I've made this comment in class, and I think you've heard me say this. I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm a stock market person. You make the market go up, I like you. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. You make the market go up, I like you. You make the market go down, I don't like you. For me, it's real simple. Okay, so whatever you do, make the market go up. Okay, that's fine. Problem is, if you make it go up today and down tomorrow, I get panicky with you. Okay, so it's like I like for you to settle down and let the market run. But I watch the market really close, and I can usually tell you how much money I'm going to make or how much money I'm going to lose based on what the S&P and what the Dow does. My father worked for Warner Brothers and Walt Disney. Okay, so he worked for both of them. And he would come home and talk about the movies that are going to come out in a year, the movies that are going to come out in 2 years. So not what's playing today, but what's coming. Well, pretty easy for me to pick up on. I mean, these are superstars. These are the stars of the day. And if they're going to be in that movie, then it's probably going to be good. And I'm asking him about this. And he's like, well, and this is back in the day of you pull the newspaper out and you go down the line and you'd find and you'd look to see what the stock price is, and I started watching that. So I'd read the paper and I'd look at the stocks, and these movie stocks would go up when really good movies came out. And if the movies weren't any good, they would go down, okay? And I started, I gave my father like $1,000 and said, I'm like 12, 13 years old at that time, and said, look, I'd like to buy stock on that company that you work for. He's like, well, okay. And my mother was like, well, that's gambling, and you're going to lose your money. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm okay with it. I understand what I'm doing. And so I it's not like I just started on this. I've been watching the stocks and a buyer for most of my life, okay, because of all of that. So I see it differently. My parents came out of the Depression era, and for them the stock market was where you lose your money, not where you make your money. And so they were never very good at it. And when my father died, they had lived a great life. Everything was paid for, but they didn't have a huge retirement account. They had enough money to do anything they wanted to because they also had me. I paid for anything they wanted. But after my father died, I'm going through my mother's accounts, and she had $180,000 in a savings account. I'm like, what are you doing with this? And she said, well, that's like our emergency money. We have enough money to pay for everything, but that's like the emergency account. I said, well, it's getting like no interest. You're getting like 2.5%. It's nothing. I said, why don't you let me invest that in the stock market for you? She's like, I can't do that. I might lose it all. I'm like, well, I don't think so. I said, I'm going to be taking care of it. I said, do you trust me? She said, well, I trust you, but I don't trust the market. I'm like, well, okay. So this goes back and forth for about 6 months. And literally one day, I walked in and I said, I have something for you. And I had written her a check for $180,000 because that's what she had. I said, if I lose your money, cash the check. Now it's guaranteed. Now you won't lose anything. So now let me have your money, and you lose anything. Anything that's less than 180, you cash the check. I said, you can tell my brothers what I'm doing. I said, but you already know I told them I was going to do this. I said, so you're not going to lose anything. Well, fast forward to today, I put that thing in a slow growth. So slow growth over 4.5 years, the money's doubled.
So instead of 2%, what was it running at here?
So she was getting 2% money, right? So 180,000 in 4.5 years is now 365 yesterday. Would you be happy with that? I doubled your money.
Okay.
You had 180,000. In 4 years, you now have 365,000. How you doing? You having a better day? Because at 2% money, you're getting like $200 or $300 a year. You're getting nothing. I doubled your money. And it'll take about 2.5, based on the market right now, in about 2.5 years, that 360 will probably be closer to about 800. Now, how you doing? This was her comment. She hugs me. She's like, I should have listened to you. I should have listened to you a long time ago. I said, well, you listen to me now. I said, she handed me the check back. I said, you still keep it? I said, I'm okay.
You got to double her money and the check.
Yeah,
that
you could have that too if you wanted.
But
like I own her house, I own her car. I mean, I take care of everything for her, but she has plenty of money. But that would just be an example that we have too many people in our society, and I worry about this a lot. We have too many people in our society that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they have nothing in their retirement account. They have nothing invested correctly. And they're like, but I have to have all my money to pay the bills. And they've not planned properly for this. Whereas, I mean, if you do this correctly, and so when you get your first job, and you'll hear me talk about this in the HR class, because once we get to the benefits section in the HR class, I get pretty serious about it, because what will happen for you, just use an easy example, okay? So your very first job, you come out and they're going to pay you $70,000 a year on your first job. That's a reasonably good salary, okay? So 70 grand, you'd be okay, you'd sign the deal, you'd take the job. Part of that is a benefit package that's, and if it's a for-profit company, it's going to be a 401k. If it's a nonprofit, it's going to be a 403b. So here at Tech, we're nonprofit, so it's a 403b. For you, in a for-profit scenario, it's going to be a 401k. All right, so, and that's what you normally hear, is your 401k. Well, they've got matching funds for you, and you're not sure what that means. And so what I explained is in a simple example, on a 5% match, so at 70,000, if you put 5% in, so 5% of your pay, so ultimately, that's pretty easy, you put in $3,500. They're going to put in $3,500 because you put yours in, so it matches. So that means you immediately doubled your money, and you didn't have to do anything. You'd be shocked how many people don't put their $3,500 in, and they lose the $3,500 from the company. Okay, now let me walk that back. If you put $3,500 on the table, they'll put $3,500 right on top of it. You get their money just by putting your money in, and people don't do that. For me, it's like, are you kidding me? You then have the choice of where to put that money in. So you could put it in a guaranteed savings account like my mother was and get no return. Or you could go super risk, smart risk, and invest like me. And I'm going to tell you right now, by the time you get ready to retire, actually before then, you'll be a millionaire. It's the most passive way to become a millionaire, and we have too many in our society that don't do that. So you put your $3,500 in. And then every year when you get a raise, you increase your $3,500. Now they're only going to put $3,500 in. Okay, they're going to put, or as your pay goes up, it's going to go up based on the 5%. But instead of you putting in 5%, you might put in 6%. And every year increase it by 1% until you get to the max. And then you put it into the stock market and let it ride. Yeah, you're going to lose money and you're going to make money. And over time, you're going to see that stock market trend line go up. And yeah, you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, there's a guy I watch. You probably don't watch him, or you do. You definitely know of him. His name is Dave Ramsey.
Absolutely.
He does talk about how the quickest way to be a millionaire is to 401ks, Roth IRAs.
Absolutely.
You doing?
Now see, like I'm not a Roth person. Okay, everybody's got their own ideas on that. Everybody's got to do this the way they want to do it. Okay. The reason why I'm not a Roth person is that's after-tax money. I'm a before-tax money. Okay, so before-tax money means, so with that 5% that you put in on that $70,000, that $3,500, that came off the top. So it actually lowered your taxable income. So if you look at your net was not $3,500 because it lowered the amount of taxes that comes out of your paycheck. If you take the money, so you'll get a choice. So when you do this, if you do it in before tax money, then it lowers your, so you're not making 70 grand, okay? I mean, you're at 66.5. Okay, so now the taxes come off of 66.5 as opposed to 70. Mm-hmm. So when you get to the net, it's not as if you pulled $3,500 off of that because you're paying less in taxes, okay? Whereas if you took the $3,500 off the bottom, then that came in after tax money. And chances are you won't pull it that way because you'll believe that I need that to pay the bills. That's the paycheck to paycheck life. Mm-hmm. Whereas what I'm saying is take it off the top of the paycheck as opposed to the bottom of the paycheck. Mm-hmm. Now what that does mean is that you're going to pay taxes when you pull the money out. Okay? But if you put more money in, then you make more money. Of course, you got to pay taxes.
Yeah.
If you put less money in, you're going to make less money.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You don't have to pay taxes at the end, mm-hmm. but you got less money. I'd rather have more money.
So if I'm right, okay, so I'm assuming like you put your money into the 401k and then I'm sure that those people put that money out into the stock market.
No, well, you have your choice. Usually most programs, you can choose like what stocks or what mutual funds or where you want that money to go. Mm-hmm. Like you don't want it to go to any company that does fill in the blank. You don't want it to go to any company that does this type of business. Maybe you want to be more on the ethical profile of the company. And that's all there. But I'll give you the easy example, okay? And I gave this to my daughter. So with her 401k, she didn't want to take the time to research every company. I said, look, this is real simple because when I look down the list, you have this name, and I'll let you look up the name, all right? But it's Vanguard, and Vanguard is a company that, I mean, it's a mutual company. They own stock in all of the top companies. You could just drop it all into Vanguard, okay? And you could run that to where it's going to run close to the S&P, and it's going to be conservative, and it's not a heavy risk, which, by the way, that's what I put my mother's money in. Mm-hmm. It's a slow growth account with almost no risk involved here. It's not going to go up a whole lot. It's not going to go down a whole lot. It's going to just see a nice growth pattern. Mm-hmm. But there's multiple ways to do that. When you're 40, so 20 years from now, mm-hmm. that's when all of a sudden you wake up and it's like, oh, maybe I should start doing that. You need to do it first job.
Yeah. Because when you do have 40, then you're going to have to be more aggressive with it. You're going to have to put more money in.
Yeah, and you're actually not going to have as much money then either.
Or you won't have the time either.
Yeah, you just won't have. You'll never have the money. You have to start off with. You have no money now, so look, 70,000 versus 66.5. Okay, you don't have any money now. Making 66.5 sounds pretty good, but you're actually making more than 70 because the offer's at 70. If you put that 5% in, you just now went to 73.5. You get me? Mm-hmm. Because you put your money in, your salary went up because they gave you more money. If you didn't put your money in, so you actually make more money. A lot of people don't pick up on this mm-hmm. because that benefit says, I'm going to pay you more money. Because we want you to put this money in the savings account, we're going to give you money. But if you don't put the money in, you leave money on the table.
You know, what I heard was, like, there's different types of 401ks and stuff. Like, I know there's traditional and all that. And I don't really know all the differences between that. I don't even think there's international, like, where you put stocks into, like, international companies and stuff. It's like, interesting because you think of it as, oh, you're only making $70K. But in reality, if you take the right steps, you are making more and you just don't see it yet,
Correct. Yeah, so I'm heavy in the market.
What about crypto?
I am no crypto.
No crypto?
None. I have none. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I could have made an unreal amount of money had I gotten into it when it first started. And it's not as if I didn't know about it. Because we had several students I'm talking about years ago that were on this when it was still like nobody knew what was going on with it. For me, I mean, there's things that I just am not involved in, and crypto happens to be one of them. My problem with crypto is that there's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is pure risk, pure speculation, pure whatever anybody will pay for it. And the risk of it is, for me, that you have a lot of people that seem to hack the accounts and move the money, and there's really no way to get that back. So as an example, if I go to the bank and I put my money in the bank, all right, and the bank loses my money or it gets stolen, the FDIC insures my money to a certain amount.
Yeah, 250,000. Well, no, yeah.
On crypto, there is no FDIC.
So it's just like something could happen to that money, and you're never gonna know what happened to it or who took. Yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Because I see some people do like micro, like what? Okay, actually, I have a question. What do you feel like? Like, how do you feel about like penny stocks? People doing like small little stocks like that.
So the risk is huge. So like on a penny stock, that company has just gone public, and there's great risk and great reward with it. The problem is with anything, most people don't do the research that they need to do. Okay, so whether we're talking about a penny stock or a stock that's selling for $100 or even $1,000, most do word of mouth. Oh my God, did you see this went up? Do you own it? You need to buy it. And you get into the panic buy of everybody's buying it, so I should too. And the problem is the ones who made the money on it were the ones who bought it before you found out about it. Because by the time you find out about it, that stock has already peaked and is ready to come back down. And everybody forgets this about a stock. In order for a stock to go up, everybody has to buy it. In order for a stock to go down, everybody starts selling it. Look, the company could be profitable or not profitable. That does not impact that stock price the way people think it does. You buy the stock goes up. You sell the stock goes down. It's that simple. And people make it really complicated. And I'm sorry that people do that, but that's the only way the stock goes up and down. Okay, so when you watched some of the companies, so like the game company and the theater company, when you watch those stocks go way up, and they should not have because they're not profitable companies, it was because a group of individuals all got together and said, we're going to buy the stock. And then they all got together and said, we're going to sell the stock. Stock went up, stock went down. Problem is, if you were not part of the inner group, you didn't have the information that says, today is the day we buy, and this is the day we sell. So you may have bought someplace along that line. They all started to sell, and you couldn't get yours sold, and you actually lost. So here's one thing that everybody should know about this, and I worry that we don't tell everybody this. And what I mean by everybody is everybody here at Tech. But in the library, we actually have a piece of software, and it's called Mergent. And there is no way that anybody at this school should buy any stock at all without using Mergent. And if you don't know the program, or if you don't know how to use the program, then that's something that everybody here should know how to do that. And it's free because it's part of the library that we have here. But that will allow you to completely analyze a stock. It'll allow you to analyze their competitors. It'll allow you to do a complete trend analysis. I mean, it's like gold. And I'm not sure why anybody wouldn't want to actually do the research to find out about this, as opposed to, you should buy. Okay, you should sell. Well, why don't you take ownership of the knowledge because it's all there and learn how to use that. And by the way, that's a valuable piece of something to be able to put on your resume that you can use that. And it's just that good. And in the seniors class, they should all use it. Okay, so.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is you invest, you're busy, you have money. But I do want to know, what are your plans after like retirement? You know, like how do you, like simple things like how do you spend your weekends? Like
Yeah. Everybody's wanting to know all this from me, okay? And I'm gonna give you my most vague answer, okay? So I'm not gonna do anything, and then I'm gonna do everything. Okay, so I'm gonna do nothing, and then I'm gonna do everything. But what that really means is I'm gonna be everywhere. I have a lot of people I need to go see. So we have a lot of alums that are all over the world that I have promised, said, look, I'll come visit you. And so I'm going to visit some of them. There are on my list, I got a lot of golf courses that I need to go play before I can't play anymore. While I can still hit the ball, actually what I mean. And it's like, for me in golf, score doesn't really mean anything. It's more of, I enjoy going to play with you type of a thing. But I'm heavy still on property. I still watch it really close. I'm a buyer. I'm a car buyer. I've got 2 or 3 cars that I'm going to buy because I want them. It's just a matter of me finding the exact one I want. So this isn't anything that's new. I mean, there's some 1960s muscle car kind of stuff that I'm going to have. But I'm the guy that can sit on the beach, literally do nothing with the proper beverage, and sit there and just enjoy the nothing. I'm going to sit there, I'm going to sit with whoever I'm with, I'm going to stand there. But I'm the guy that it seems like I'm really busy and I can't do anything. I mean, I got to be in something all the time. I'm actually the guy that's pretty good at I just want to enjoy that minute right there. And, but in terms of my career, I have no regrets. What I have done here, I did not really plan to do. So a lot of this was without a plan. I did not expect to be here this long, but I fell in love with the school. I didn't expect when I started to, literally launch the marketing and the HR, but I like it all. And this is always my comment, and you picked up on it immediately. This stuff all goes together.
Yeah.
So from an HR standpoint, look, I will beat you every day because I got better employees than you've got. I'll beat you because I got a better team. So how do I get a better team? Well, it's not that difficult. And you got to think about everything I've said. How'd you like to work for me? I'll treat you better and I'll pay you more. Now you want to talk to me? Because I'm going to pay you a lot more. And I'm going to treat you so much better than they do.
Just like how you went up to the lady and was like, hey, you want to live in your house for free?
Exactly. I'm going to treat you better than anybody else would treat you. Okay? And I'm going to respect you. So, and you've heard me talk about these things in class. You bring respect. Well, I'm going to respect you. Okay? So if you work with me, I share everything. I mean, I tell you exactly how much money I'm making, and I tell you how much money I'm going to pay you. This is not I make a whole lot and you make none. I'd rather we shared. Okay? I'd rather, let's just be transparent about this. I'm making a lot of money. I'd like to give you a really big bonus this year. And by the way, I expect other people to want you to come work for them. I'd rather you stayed with me. I'll give it to you in a different example. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 alums who play with me in my golf tournament in September. And the golf tournament's called Twist, and it's Trask Wall's Invitational Student Tournament. I started it. Trask died early on. But the 3 alums that play with me, in the past, while they were still young and living, they live someplace else, but they come to my home. They spend the entire weekend. I pay for everything, okay? When I say everything, I'm talking about like we have dinner, we go play golf at another golf course. I buy shirts so that we all have matching shirts. Anything they want, I buy. And I pay for the whole tournament. And I'm not telling you that we win every time, but we're either number one or number two, okay? But individuals on other teams will try to recruit them to come play on their team. And they do it right in front of me for like jokes and whatever and laugh about it. But one of them made this comment to them. And it was the female that's on my team. And here's what she said. And her name is Megan, and it's Megan Quick. Now, she played number one on our golf team. When she was on our golf team, it was Megan Garrison. And she was the very first one to go to the national tournament. She's legit good. In fact, she is so smart. Had she not gotten the job offers right away, she'd probably be playing on the tour. She's that good.
Wow.
Okay. And on top of that, she's really nice. She's one of these people that's a happy person and nice all the time. But individual said, why don't you come and play on our team? And we will do this, this, and this. And here's what she said. Well, Walls already does that. And he does a whole lot more than that. And by the way, his team usually wins every year. So why would I play for you? Okay? And that's pretty much how I think about everything. I'll treat you right, okay? And I'll pay you more in everything that I do, okay? And I believe in stepping back and introducing you. So when we're with the alums, I'll introduce you, and it's not about me. I step back, and this is the superstar. Yeah. This is the one that you need to hire. This is the one that's coming. And on February 28th, I've got about 70 alums that are all my HR alums or friends of mine or people that have heard about this, but the showcase event that I've got in this building is going to be unreal. Last year, it was amazing. This year, it is literally up a notch, that it is over the top. This building is going to be jammed. To get 50 in this building, which is what we had last year, this building was literally over the top. To have 70, we'll be over capacity, truly, which will make it, for me, the exact way it's supposed to be. You'll be out there in the hallway, and you won't be able to see from one end to the other. The students that are going to come, the job offers that are going to be there, the companies that I've got coming, it's everything. And so how I mean, everybody wants to know, so how'd you get them to come? I said, well, I don't think you understand. I old school called them. I sent them an email, and then I followed up with a call. I said, look, I'd like for you to come. And there really wasn't any hesitation. And these aren't just people in Fort Wayne. I mean, they're coming from Cleveland, from Detroit, a couple of them coming from Chicago. There's a couple of them that are actually flying in for this, okay? So they'll have their stuff all sent in, and they're flying in. That's how much they value Indiana Tech. They value the relationship that I have with them, and they know that I'm going to introduce them to the top students, and they know that they're going to get superstar talent. And for me, that's what it's all about. So for me to tell you, so what do I enjoy the most? I enjoy the most when you're successful. I enjoy the most when you get a great offer. For me, you pass a certification exam, you get whatever the internship, whatever the job is, you made my day. Because it's really not about me, it's about me putting you in a position for you to be successful. And once again, that kind of goes back to what I said. Mm-hmm. I'll treat you better, and I'll pay you more. So come over here, okay? So, but yeah, and so on campus, I mean, I play golf. I go to most of the sporting events. I used to go to a lot more. I've gotten old where I can't sit outside in weather like this anymore. I used to be able to, but it's a little cold, and I can't hang, I guess, anymore. But I still enjoy every bit of it. I enjoy the whole spirit of the competition, and I'd actually rather watch us than go see somebody else. And this sounds pretty disrespectful, but the number of times I've turned down like Notre Dame football tickets because they conflicted with one of our games, it's unbelievable. Okay, you'd be like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not available. We're playing. I can't come to that. So, but I like that kind of stuff. So,
I have one more question, and you probably did already answer it, but I just wanted like you to expand on it. Is, you know, like, why do you do the things you do? You know?
yeah.
You help people. You come to class. You teach. You connect people. You're a role model to some. You know, you're a leader. Why do you do the things you do?
Well, walk it back for a moment, because I always have the opinion that I can't make everybody happy. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't like me. And the best way I can describe this is people are always jealous of things, okay? So you're jealous because this person has and you don't have, so you don't like the person, okay? You don't necessarily like me because I'm straight up honest. I'll just tell you right to your face, I don't think what you're doing is the right thing. I don't like it. I think you should do this. Or, I mean, I'll just tell you, okay? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you if I think your degree could be better if you did something else. I'm that person that'll do that. And I'll call you out in class if you show up late. I don't have any problems doing stuff like that. If you played a really bad game in class, I'm going to probably tell you, you can't make your free throws. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, you're on the free throw line and you missed your free throws. I mean, like, nobody's guarding you. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I'll call you out in class on stuff like that. But at the same time, I believe that you want me to help you with something, I won't let you down. You may not like what I tell you. I'll tell you your resume it's not ready. I'll tell you that, you know, here's what you have to go do. But that's where having other faculty members, having other people here, maybe you connect with that person better. Then that's who you should go see. Not everybody should come see me. Mm-hmm. But for those who do, I'm always of the opinion, I won't let you down. And I'm never going to tell you wrong. You may not like what I tell you, but it won't be wrong. Mm-hmm. All right? And I'll stake my reputation. I'll stake who I am. I'll put my name on it. I'll put everything that's now hanging in my classroom that used to be hanging in my office. I'll put all that up against anybody, any day, anytime. Somebody made this comment to somebody here, so I'm not going to give you the whole story. But when we're at the SHRM conference and there's 25,000 people there, and Indiana Tech is number one, we're the number one school. Our reputation there is unreal. So when the president of SHRM wants his picture with us, when the entire staff, so the vice presidents call me routinely to go out to dinner with them because they want to know what's going on with the students. They want to know who our students are. And they give back to us in ways that they don't give to other schools. When we're so a year ago, they selected 4 schools in the nation to launch a brand new program with. Okay, so SHRM selected 4 schools. Okay, Texas A&M, San Diego State, University of Tennessee, yeah, and Indiana Tech. Okay, now think about those other 3.
And are those business schools, those other 3?
Those other 3 are D1 superstars. Okay, and here's the thing. I put them in reverse order. They selected us as number 1. Okay, people don't understand that. And if anything, I've tried to downplay that here so that it's not as if we're that much better than anything else, but we have it going on. We really do. And the situation that with me retiring, what I've told everybody is this. I'm retiring, but I'm not dying. And that means that if you or anybody else need me, for you, I'm always in. It's not like I'm not here. It's just, you got my number, and you're going to call me. And I'm pretty quick on the answer. I won't let you down with this kind of stuff. So, I mean, during the Notre Dame Ohio State game last night, I made a comment to you in class, Ron Patel. He's bumping me like I'm not leaving. I'm hoping they're winning, and then by halftime he's deflated and all of that. But so, I mean, he's multi. Colin, he could stay anywhere he wanted to. I mean, he could come to Fort Wayne, and I don't care what the most expensive whatever would be. When at Sweetheart Ball with the...
I met him, yeah.
Yeah. He spent the night at my home.
Wow.
Okay. So, I mean, he'll call and say, look, I want to stay with you. And I'm like, Ron, he said, like, I want the upstairs suite. He said, I want to book it for me, which that's my house. Okay, it's just the upstairs, okay? Yeah. But that would be the level of respect. And then he'll give me a rough time. It's like, I know you drive by my house in South Bend. I know you're driving through Mishawaka. He said, you go to Chicago, you go up to Michigan. He said, you better stop by the next time. You better stay with me. That's the difference, okay? Is that I have from day one believed that education is all about relationships. I only do business with the alums. So if you sell insurance, I buy it from you because you're an alum. You sell cars, I buy from you because you're an alum. I do business that way. So for me, it's all about the relationship, and it has been my entire life. So not just here, but everything that I do is based on that level of relationship. That relationship-based education, relationship business, relationship sales, whatever you want to put that to, that's how I work. It's always like, so who do we know there? If we know somebody there, I'm doing business there. I don't know anybody, I'll probably step back for a moment. Like, I don't know anybody there. I know you, you're one of my students, you're an alum, I trust you completely.
Yeah. Well, that is it for this episode. I
made my day just talking to you. So
yeah.
I love this where you and I just have a conversation and
yeah.
we let them maybe watch or not watch.
Yeah.
So, but thank you.
Yeah, today I just had like a simple thing. I had a couple questions in mind, but just kind of see where the conversation leads.
Well, this was a no rehearsed. I didn't know the questions ahead of time. So
very impromptu.
Yeah. Full disclosure. This was just, fully unabridged, no edit. So,
yes. But, maybe one cutout.
Yeah.
Maybe one.
Yeah, I dropped the mic. So.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for everyone that's watching. We will have this posted here soon. You know, I would like for you guys to like, subscribe, and share. It's always great when you guys interact with our videos, and we do have one of the other groups posting right after us. So yeah.
And by the way, my accolades to you. You are making a great impact on us. You're making Indiana Tech better.
Thank you so much.
I can't thank you enough. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.